All right, microphones are hot, and good evening. It is 7 o'clock. And I want to welcome you all, call the meeting to order, our Bedminster Township regular meeting, Township Committee meeting for May 5th, 2014. We have our full Township Committee tonight. Can I have the open public meetings statement?
Yes, sir. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News in Somerville, Burnsville News in Bernardsville, to all subscribers, and also posted here at the Township Building as of January 6th, 2014.
I would ask you all to join in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a full docket tonight with all sorts of disparate things, not the least of which is we will start out with meeting minutes. We have 5 meeting minutes going to April 7th, open closed session, April 14th, special meeting, special closed session, and the last meeting, regular meeting of April 21st. Does anybody have any comments, questions, additions, subtractions?
There was a small amendment to the April 7th set of minutes. You have it in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does anybody else have anything? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
I will
you.
abstain from April 7th.
Okay. Noted. Permits and raffles. We have a raffle license for St. Barnabas Medical Center Foundation. September 8th, 2014, Trump National Golf Club, 8 p.m. That is an on-premise merchandise. Also a raffle license for the St. Barnabas Medical Center Foundation, September 8th. Trump National Golf Club, 8 p.m. That is an off-premise 50-50. A raffle license for the Resource Center of Somerset, Inc., June the 9th, 2014, Trump National Golf Club, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on-premise merchandise. A raffle license for the Resource Center of Somerset, Inc., also on June 9th, 2014, Trump National Golf Club, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., an on-premise 50-50. Let me go back to B again, which is the St. Barnabas. They have an on-premise merchandise. Is it an on-premise 50-50?
It's
Is
an
that a typo?
off-premise, it's an off-premise 50-50, meaning they're selling tickets ahead of time.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. I'm sorry. Let's continue on down to letter E. Social affair permit, the Willow School, May the 3rd, 2014, 6:30 to 11:30 p.m. Hamilton Farm Golf Club. And they are looking for emergency approval tonight.
The chief and I have actually already signed this one, and we need to confirm and send down tomorrow to the ABC because of the dates. The date on that one has already passed, and the date of the next one is Thursday. So ABC asked us to follow up with them as soon as we can tomorrow.
Social affair permit, Villanova University, May 8th, 2014, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the home of Patrick and Julie Higgins, 2030 Larger Cross Road, Bedminster. That is also coming due very soon. Fireworks permit, Trump National, 911 Lamington Road, May the 7th, 2014, 9 p.m. And a fireworks permit for Trump National, 911 Lamington Road on May the 25th, 2014, 9 p.m. That is their annual around Memorial Day fireworks. I see we have Mr. Anderson here, and do we have somebody from Trump? Do you want to talk about the fireworks, this year's fireworks?
It's our normal setup.
Just come on up to the microphone up there, just state your name and who you're representing, and then just...
I'm Hank Pertinsky, and I'm representing Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster. It's we have our Memorial Day fireworks on Sunday, which we're doing this year on the 25th, but we also have a wedding that wants fireworks, and that is I believe the week before. So same setup, not all the fanfare that we have on Memorial Day. It's just, for the wedding, so they'll go off like 9 o'clock and everybody will look and, and away they go. So we'll have off-duty police coverage for both events, and it's our normal process.
Tom, everything look as per normal every year?
Everything is fine. The application is good to go.
Chief,
Yep, absolutely fine.
anybody else have any questions?
Nope.
Does anybody have any questions on any of the other things, including the ones that are about to happen or recently happened? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the whole lot.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Okay, as we do at every open public meeting for the Township Committee, we open the microphone up to public comments. Any member of the public who wishes to be heard, step up to that microphone as you saw and state your name and your address and be heard. Seeing none, we will move on to monthly reports from our subcommittee chairs. We'll start with Mr. Payne.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor. Let's start out with J.C. P&L. I got a call from John Anderson, and if you recall, we had that study where the recorder monitors were being placed on meters in the specifically in the Hills Village North Master Association Wood Duck Pond in the Four Oaks neighborhood. These were placed for a week at a time, and this was over a period of from last month into the beginning of this month. And he informed me that the data shows no unusual events or nothing discernible that they could use to get to the bottom of what is purported to be frequent outages. So his recommendation is that they revisit the study again and do it in August when the peak demand is on, and maybe they'd be able to ascertain something at that time, but they did not get enough data to be able to take it any further along.
Is that the usual span of time that they would do a survey for, or would it help to run it
Well,
longer?
I guess if it was, even if there was, this was sensitive enough to detect uneven power flows, even if someone's lights didn't go off or their alarm didn't go off. If there was something there that didn't manifest itself with an actual outage, that this equipment was sensitive enough to pick up on that. So a week is the normal protocol. Now, they're going to try it again in August, they said, when demand is different. But he also wanted me to repeat to all the residents that if you are experiencing any of these, then you'd really need to contact JCP&L as we outlined, and then let Judy know, or me, or somebody via email, and let us try to, once again, act as the interface with JCP&L and say, hey, it happened on this particular day. Because they're really at a loss to try to find out what these frequent intermittent outages are, especially in that neighborhood. Now, as far as expanding the study to other neighborhoods, they want to concentrate right now where the most complaints have come from. If they can't find it there, they don't see how they're going to be able to find it in some other neighborhood where it's not as frequent. So that's the latest update on that. And then the only other thing I wanted to point out, Mayor, I know we talked about it, and I think everybody's probably aware that you've read in the paper that what is now the 104th PGA Championship in August of 2022 will be held on our very own Trump National Golf Course here in Bedminster. And for golfers like John and myself, that's a huge event in the golfing world. And it's a huge event just for I would guess the tens of thousands of spectators, workers, media that are going to descend on Bedminster and all of Somerset County. It's going to be terrific, Mike, for the county. And there's only, let's see, the last one was in 2005 at Baltusrol. Baltusrol is going to host it again in 2016. Then it goes, next time it's going to be in the New York metropolitan area will be 2019 at Bethpage. And then 2022 here in Bedminster. And I'd venture a guess that very few of us will still be here in an official capacity then. I don't know, Chief, if you're going to be, and Chris, you're going to be directing traffic back in 8 years from now, but there will be traffic. But it should be just a great event for the economy and for our town, and it's going to, if we don't have enough international recognition, we'll certainly have it then.
And hopefully in the years to come, we will do like they did for the Super Bowl, but maybe a little bit better and prep for it, maybe a year and a half out. And
Well, actually,
Baltusrol is what, in Springfield?
Springfield.
Springfield. We should go pick their brain in a couple of
well,
years.
I think, you want to be there in 2017. I was there in 2005, and they actually begin the prep for this years in advance.
Yeah.
And when you think about the big hospitality tents that they have and the corporate sponsorship and all the telecommunications equipment and they might even be changing the golf course around to accommodate it, and parking and logistics. It's pretty incredible operation.
No, emergency preparation, this would probably be something that's not just a Bedminster, but get the
It's a
entire
regional
county
thing.
involved, yeah, a regional thing. All right, very exciting.
That's it. Thank you.
Ms. Freeman?
I have nothing to report.
All right. Mr. Jacobs?
Nothing to report, but we'll say congratulations to our township attorney for completing his first of many marathons.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, very good. Are you still sore?
No, ran yesterday.
He's running back to Basking Ridge.
Yes.
Gave up driving.
Ms. Santucci?
So I thought that Jacobus Vanderveer House was planning ahead, but now that I hear 2022. But I met on April 23rd with the Jacobus Vanderveer House board for Colonial Christmas. So the dates are set already, starting December 5th. The house will be open on November 29th, same as last year after Thanksgiving, November 30th, December 4th, December 5th, 6th, and 7th. So I'll keep you updated, but we're in May now, so I think we have plenty of time.
Well, which gets to another event, and I guess we're already got folks meeting for Fall Fest.
We had our first meeting in January.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
So, yeah, that's September 20th.
And I got word from the governor's office today, kind of a quasi-congratulations. Congratulations, but not for what you asked for. We did come out with a grant for the upcoming year for road, Old Dutch Road East, $190,000. That's good for the folks that live there, but we had been asking for Robertson Road for yet again, so kick the can down the road and hope for better luck next year. So that'll be more to come in next year's budget. All right, administrators report.
Couple things. Somerset County sponsors a shredding event every year, and this year will be the same. Bedminster will be participating with the help of Far Hills and PPAC Gladstone here at our Bedminster Public Works, right here on Miller Lane. That will be on June 28th. It's a Saturday from 9 to 1. Everyone is invited as long as they're a resident of Somerset County. We also are going to have well testing available to residents, basically for those who have well water or just if they would like to test their water. The week of June 9th to the 12th, from 10 to 2, we'll have representative here from Raritan Headwaters along with a college intern helping out, selling the various water samples available. And then we'll be collecting the samples back on Friday, June 13th. Also, we've had some changing of the guard.
Saw the pictures online.
Chief Meyer and Lieutenant Rock were both sworn in my office on May 1st. And so they're official in their position, but the public ceremony here with yourself, the Township Committee, and their family and friends will be Monday, May 19th, here in this room. And also our Municipal Court Administrator, Carmela Sibilia, she was here with the town for 28 years. She also retired on May 1st. And we have a new Deputy Court Clerk filling in right now, Erin Flannery. She came over to us from Washington Township, and she's been doing great. So little changing of the guard there. And also our tax collector, Deborah Giordano, who works for us as well as Far Hills, has also announced her retirement as of July 1st. So we're currently getting ready to do some interviews for that position. So
And we're still getting some help on the court administrator temporarily from our friends up the road.
there is a agreement tonight and a resolution for a shared service to share a court administrator, yes.
All right.
Judy, Mayor, I'm sorry, could I just add one thing? I forgot to, John, how did we make out with the huge washouts for the roads?
Fair.
Fair? Okay.
Not too bad.
All right, well, that's,
5 inches of rain, but it was over a period of time, so we did okay.
I know a lot of Bun Road ended up in somebody's front yard, but I was on River Road tonight, and it looked like you put some new material down just today.
That's just grading from today,
Oh, wow.
so.
It looked-
All right.
it was all
Looked
stone
good.
we put down.
another good job,
Thank
John,
you.
thank you.
We're working on them.
And just on a personal note, I'll be out on Friday going to an all-day seminar, so, anyway.
Okay, introduction of ordinances. We actually have 2 ordinances tonight for capital projects. We will start out with ordinance 2014-003. It's an ordinance authorizing the funding for various capital projects in the amount not to exceed $206,500. And it's going to provide funding for equipment and vehicles for the Public Works Department, part of the 2014 Road Management Plan, equipment for the Police Department, facility improvements for the municipal complex, and there'll be a hearing on this ordinance scheduled for Monday, May the 19th, at 7 p.m. in these chambers. And will that include the brain system here? Or was
That
already?
was in a previous ordinance that was left over from, actually the building of this building. There was some money left over, that's what we used, so no new money for that.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments on 2014-003? If not, I will take a motion to introduce.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then ordinance 2014-004, an ordinance authorizing the funding for the River Road Turtle Tunnel Capital Project in an amount not to exceed $58,565. It provides funding for the River Road Tunnel Project near River Road Park. The public hearing for this ordinance will be Monday, May 19th, 7 p.m. in these chambers. Any comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain an ordinance. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, public hearing on ordinance is already introduced. We do not have any. Consent agenda, we have one resolution on the consent agenda. It's Resolution 2014-067, Spring and Summer Recreation Program Fees. And what this does not, this is simply, this is Camp Bedminster fees, so
Right.
this does not include field fees, because
No.
that's for next year. All right, any comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
This would be a roll call vote. Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye?
Thank you.
Okay, the regular resolutions tonight, 2014-066, amending the personnel policy. We had a bit of a discussion on this last week, and has anything changed from our discussion?
No, this is just a review of what we discussed last time. Most of it is just implementing the various policies recommended by the JIF regarding telephone use, driving of township vehicles, very basic information that's recommended. The one thing that we were discussing was about the
Workers' comp?
proposal from Workman's Comp. It was my recommendation to leave that as is in our personnel policy, and the consensus at that time was an agreement with that, but we need to maybe discuss it further and actually adopt.
And I also had a section of it I wanted to ask some questions of John and discuss.
Sure.
Mhm. This is a good time. Go ahead, this is a good
Okay,
time to do
okay, I
it.
didn't know if you wanted to finish with the workers' comp first. Okay, section 2A-12.9, communication media policy. I just wanted to be sure, and 3 pages from that, there's a paragraph that starts, employees are prohibited from releasing or disclosing taking any photographs, pictures, digital images, so on and so forth. I wanted to make sure, Mr. Bellardo, that that didn't prevent anyone from videotaping meetings.
I don't think it does, Ms. Freeman, but this resolution was not prepared by me. This was prepared under the direction of Labor Counsel, Art Tebow.
Right.
So I was not involved in this resolution or the formulation of it in any manner, so I can't speak to it.
Yeah, it actually came from, he's correct, it
Yeah.
came from our other attorney.
Because it could be read broadly to prevent, I suppose the Supreme Court said anyone can videotape any public meeting. So, certainly if we end up videotaping meetings, it might be an employee doing it. So, I just want to make sure this doesn't prevent that from happening.
Well,
Are
if
you
we-
reading from page 14066, I mean, from? I think
066.
that talks about just from crime scenes, traffic crashes, arrestees, detainees, people or job-related incidents, kind of, I think, talking about our emergency services. I don't think it's applying to just any photographs or any, but again, we can talk to Mr. Tebow.
Well, no, it says employees are prohibited from releasing or disclosing, taking any photographs, pictures, digital images of any crime scenes, traffic crashes, arrestees, detainees, people or job-related incident or occurrence. So I guess you could call it a job-related incident or occurrence. I mean, fine if it's read so that it doesn't apply to meetings, that would be great. I just wanted to make sure that we
Well-
couldn't apply it to meetings.
You could make, it seems to me that it has something to do with emergency, because, if Robin Ray and the rec department wanted to take photographs of Camp Bedminster, other than the fact that I would hope that they would get a parent's release form.
Which they do.
Which they do, but I don't know that this would,
It could not
Prohibit them.
override the Torres Pine
right.
Hill decision that allows members of the public to videotape meetings, so it certainly would not override that. Although I didn't prepare this, I can tell you that people would continue to have a right to come to meetings, including employees, and videotape.
Okay. Yeah, Supreme Court is a little higher body than this.
any other comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion for 066.
So moved.
Second?
This will be a roll call vote too. Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution 2014-068, salaries for Camp Bedminster, and you can see we have an exhaustive list, as usual, of who's doing what, where, and what their expected salary is. Does anybody have any comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion for 068.
So moved?
I'll
Second.
second that.
Roll call vote. Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye. I'm gonna take C and just table it for the moment, because I think there'll be some longer discussion on that. Let's hit some of the others. Resolution 2014-070, the EDC, EWA permit. Let's see if I can get to that.
In a nutshell,
Mhm.
speaking with Paul Ferrero, this group, it was either chicken before the egg or egg before the chicken. This group is coming before the Land Use Board for approvals to expand the pump station on Schley Mountain Road for EDC. In one of the steps to do that is to get a TWA permit approval from the Township Committee. And Paul Ferrero indicated to me that it could just as easily start here with the TWA permit being approved and then go to the Land Use Board or vice versa. And he's reviewed the application. It's very routine. They're expanding it slightly. They're going to improve the HVAC, some of the pumps, some of the other equipment that's inside. And they do need your approval for the transmission of that wastewater because it's in Bedminster Township. It's not through our pump station, but it is in Bedminster Township.
Any
So-
comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote again. Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
2014-071, authorizing the shared service agreement with P-PAC Gladstone for a municipal court administrator. Now, we have not gone all the way through to run our authorizing a shared court, but this is allowing Vicky to help us out.
We're in an interim period right now. As I said, our court administrator has retired. We do have a deputy court administrator on staff. The idea would be we are not going to hire a court administrator. We are going to use PPACs until such time that we finalize an agreement for a shared court, which is still, it's in the works. We hope to get it done as soon as we can. It's moving forward, rather slowly, but moving forward. And this would allow the PPAC court administrator to come over and work in Bedminster and handle our court sessions on Tuesday night. And we would compensate PPAC Gladstone for her time.
And,
This has been reviewed by the attorney and was adjusted by the attorney as well as our insurance provider to make sure it met with their requirements.
Any comments or questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Again, a roll call vote. Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution 2014-072, and this is putting the names and the dollar amounts next to that. It is naming the part-time positions for the municipal court, and we've got the lady from PPAC Gladstone and our violations clerk. Any comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Again, roll call vote. Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back up to letter C, Resolution 2014-069. And this is authorizing to place expansion for the use of the Pluckaman Inn liquor license. And Mr. Jacobs and I have heard the Pluckaman Inn has been before the Land Use Board, and they are putting a building in behind the Plucky. And part of that is for the purposes of online wine sales, and part of that also, that process also involves a review of their liquor license. And we have folks from the Plucky tonight, I believe. Is that representing? And we also have Sergeant Cummins here, who is our ABC officer. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Who wants to go first? Why don't you come and just explain to the rest of us that weren't on the land use board what's going on
Okay.
and
My
what,
name- good
what you need.
evening. My name is Linda Prentice. I'm an attorney at Riker Danzig in Morristown. We represent the Pluckman Inn. And our client has applied for a place-to-place transfer, which is another fancy name of saying an expansion of the licensed premises. So right now, we have a licensed premises for the Pluckman Inn, the restaurant, some of the adjacent areas outside, but we don't have anything connecting the two, the potential wine cellar or the wine cellar in terms of being a licensed premises. So we applied to the township clerk to expand the licensed premises. We submitted, it's my understanding we've submitted all the requisite documents that are required, and we're requesting that be granted. And Jay, do you want to tell a little bit more about the facility itself as the architect?
Good evening. My name is Jay Petrillo. I was the architect on the project. The restaurant had contacted us in terms of designing a building for the storage of the wine. Currently, there's 3 other facilities where the restaurant group stores wine for use at the restaurant exclusively. So they were looking to consolidate. So we were asked to come up with a design of a building that was appropriate to fit in that back area, pretty far back from the road, not really visible from the public, to store that wine.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
What type of liquor license do you have?
Plenary C.
Plenary C, and what is that?
That is for the sale of alcoholic beverages in the restaurant facility itself, and I believe carry-out.
So carryout?
Yes,
Okay,
it is
and the
carryout.
carryout mechanism also allows the internet sales?
No, it really doesn't. The state doesn't regulate internet sales. I had spoken to the ABC about the internet sales, and they do not regulate that. So that's not covered. I would, it would be not a true statement to say that that's
Okay.
covered by the plenary C.
So it's not covered as long as you have your liquor license for carryout, internet is okay.
I'm not sure there's a connection between the internet and the carryout. Again, it's not covered by the plenary
Well, if you
C
didn't have a
license.
carryout license, if you were just doing in-store service, would that allow you to sell bottles?
Wait, sell bottles over the internet?
No, no,
Online? Oh,
to sell
bo-
bottles, period.
If you have the plenary C with the packet, yes.
Right.
Yes, you can.
Excuse me, the internet sales, that would just be for someone placing an order and then coming to the restaurant and picking it up. The order would have been prepared and ready for them, and that would be the point of purchase, so to
That's
speak, or
correct.
they could actually buy it online. But it has to be picked up there at the store. There's no shipping, it's not a distribution outlet. It's gonna be merely a place to store the wine. If
That's
the-
correct. And that's going to comprise less than 5% of the wine sales from at the facility.
Actually, I think that the testimony at the land use board is that there is some shipping.
Oh, is there, that I'm not, did they
Yeah.
familiar with
They,
that?
they do some shipping.
Yeah, that was my
the
understanding.
Okay, I'm
too.
sorry, then
And
that's
that has
I think
already
I'm
been
aware of
going
the
on.
mechanics of that, so I guess there is then.
Okay.
The way it was explained to us at land use was that at the higher end, some of these wines, that the winemakers do not want to sell directly internet sales themselves because they may get individuals that kind of try to hoard a batch. So they like to distribute to high-end restaurants, but the high-end restaurants end up being, the retail distributor, not just in their restaurant, but I guess in this case, they're trying to do it through the internet.
And the way it was explained at the land use board is that the new structure would not serve as a distribution point, that the bottles would actually be hand-walked or
I guess that's more my
wheeled
question.
over to
Yeah,
the
we're
restaurant.
not creating an.
And then
another
from
business,
FedEx or
yeah,
UPS out from the restaurant.
Right.
It's a storage, it's more of a storage.
It's literally
storage.
just storage.
It is just storage.
One door, no windows.
No public access, just a couple of the key
Yeah,
people at the
that was
facility.
more my question. If
Right.
people would be able to go to this facility and kind of over the counter buy the liquor there. No,
Yeah,
they would have
The
no-
to.
wine store, no.
No.
Nobody
they'd have to
other
go
than
into the
employees.
restaurant to buy.
No, they have about 2 or 3 key employees or so, it's
Okay.
my understanding, who will have access to that. It will not involve additional deliveries, so you won't have a daily delivery. I think it's twice a week right now, where they deliver to the restaurant. They're going to still deliver to the restaurant. They're not going to be making a separate trip to the back of the property to deliver the wine back there.
Okay,
It'll just
purely
be all
storage
delivered,
then. Okay.
again, no extra deliveries, no extra traffic.
Okay.
And so
Thank
for
you.
purposes, this resolution is expanding the license to address the new structure?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
To the structure and then I guess the land in between, so that they have access to cart it from one facility to the next.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just expanding it to that standalone building.
So is there an additional charge for the license, for this additional service?
Well, we paid
There was a fee to expand the license, but the annual fee doesn't change for the license at that location overall. There is an additional fee to do the expansion, for
Yeah.
the one-time fee.
Well, if my memory serves me correctly, the old Plucky had a carry-out type of license, and that was the license that was effectively transferred over,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
And yeah,
That's
the
the
land
same
use.
license.
Yeah, that's what they explained to us, how they could do this.
But that
Because the
doesn't
old
affect internet.
Plucky, the liquor license that they purchased allowed package store sales, and this
Right.
was an expansion of that.
So the Pluckman Inn is a package goods store. But this is
very nice
but this
one.
is exactly what they're licensed.
Yeah, right.
It-
A very nice
It has
one.
come a long
If I
way
may
from the days of the
editorialize.
Plucky.
It's a
Upscale.
Bedminster package goods store.
Yeah, but it does permit it to do that, so.
Sergeant Cummins? Yes. It's only been a couple weeks since we've seen you last. We're happy you're here. Can you shed any light, if you'll come up to the microphone or up to the chief's mic, just to give us a little bit of history on their liquor license, because that's part of your job, and why we why we have you.
Chris Cummins, ABC officer for Bedminster Township. It is my understanding, Mayor, that it is strictly a storage facility. That's all. There's not going to be any sales of any kind out of the new building. It's just because they're running out of space in the restaurant, and it's going to store the excess. Again, no sales of any kind, no customer interaction at that location, employees only to retrieve what's needed or put away. In regards to basic background on the stockholder, Ms. LaGrassa, no issues there that I can find. It's a profitable business. There's no flags in the credit, anything along those lines that would prohibit me or you from moving forward on this. No red flags, no problems there as far as the police department is concerned, any issues. The past regular compliance inspections that I conduct there rendered nothing out of the ordinary, no problems. They keep good records there. I don't see any reason to prohibit this from moving forward.
Excellent.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? And if not, I will entertain a motion for 2014-069.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call vote again. Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next on the agenda, approval of the bill list. Can I get a motion to approve the bill list pending individual invoice approvals?
So moved.
Second.
Again, roll call vote. Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Santucci?
Aye.
Mayor Parker?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Discussion items. We have 2 items for discussion by a gentleman named Kerwin. And yes, they are related, but it's on completely different subjects. So we will start out with Mr. Mike Kerwin, who will address us from the Somerset County Business Partnership. Welcome, Mr. Kerwin.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I look forward to having a conversation with you. I'd like to hand out, Mayor, with your permission.
Sure.
What I'm including in this package is some information on the business
Thank
partnerships
you.
and the events that we hold,
Thank you.
as well as information on our tourism initiative, and a short summary of our economic development strategy for Somerset County, affectionately known as our SEDS, that we are proud of. We recently completed that last December. And as we move from strategies into implementation, I thought it would be appropriate to extend an invitation to engage with Bedminster Township. I have to say, I thought I had some good reasons why that engagement makes sense. But when I saw the announcement for the PGA tournament, I said it was an omen. The Somerset County Business Partnership, among other things, is a designated marketing organization for tourism in the state of New Jersey. And in wearing that hat, we will be working very closely with Trump, with the USGA, and the state of New Jersey, as well as our tourism partners, to really make that work. So let me just say officially, in that capacity, I look forward to working closely with Bedminster Township because, let's face it, this tournament will brand Bedminster. You will hear, Bedminster repeatedly. We have an opportunity, I think, to really promote the township in a very, very positive light. So I need to amend my letter to include that, but I think you get the sense where I'm coming from. I think promoting Somerset County is what we need to do to compete. I know Committeeman Jacobs would, I think, agree with that. We have to learn how to compete, particularly to attract talent to our employers. And I think the way we assess the situation, it's clear there's a lot of movement more to the more urban areas, but we're not in a bad situation relatively relative to areas further to the west. And what we're trying to do is present ourselves as the best of both worlds, so that you are proximate to Newark Airport, proximate to the interstates, and of course, the interstates are here. This is where 78 and 287 meet in Bedminster. But the difference is you can be relatively close to the major urban areas, but live here and enjoy a tremendous quality of life. So, you know, we see it as the best of both worlds. But we have to get the word out. We have to promote, and that's really one of the things the business partnership is trying to do. The other things we're trying to do, and you know, I'm focusing primarily in Bedminster, is keep AT&T happy. They're not locally based in a sense. Their corporate leadership is in Texas. So we do enjoy a close working relationship with Bedminster, or AT&T in Bedminster. And the event that we're planning at AT&T's request, I think is very interesting. They asked the business partnership to work with them to demonstrate that AT&T is an innovation company just like Facebook, even though they wear, you know, suit and ties. So they said, will you work with us to reach out to local technology companies in Somerset County as a way to really celebrate the innovation that's taking place in New Jersey, in Somerset County, and in Bedminster in particular. So the response to that has been very positive. So the idea is to have an event here at AT&T. The theme will be Smart Future, how technology being developed in Somerset County will help us work, live, and play smarter. Somebody from AT&T will then not only talk about that future, but demonstrate what it's going to look like, take a pause, and say to Somerset County companies, will you work with us to help make that future? That's pretty cool. So, Mayor, of course, you will be invited to participate in the
And I
event.
know you've already been, had some, at least early discussions with the Bedminster Business Association?
Yes, and that's this is something historically, and the business partnership has not been, you know, we've been very good at keep working at the county freeholders and public-private partnership, and particularly with the big companies, which historically have maintained a good relationship with us. But we have to really figure out how to work effectively with the local business organizations. So we have met with Bedminster. We support the Bedminster Business Association because having those local business organizations are very, very important. And we're looking to continue to collaborate together because there's certain things they do that we can't do as well, you know, represent businesses at this local level, but we can bring things to the table as well. So we're working, hopefully, to create a real win-win situation. And I see it taking place throughout the Somerset County, hopefully with Bedminster as the model.
Mike, the mayor and I were able to attend the Somerset Governing Officials Dinner, where you spoke on more of the whole regional idea of attracting businesses and corporations into Somerset County, and what the different municipalities can do if they're interested in bringing business into their locality or into the surrounding areas. So if you want, and I would say that this probably segues well into that, into the more global or far-reaching goal is to, you know, to expand business as well as nurture the existing businesses.
So the question is, and again, we're trying here, and it's like we're kind of like trying to figure it out. Like, how can we play offense in 2014, right? So, you know, that's where we have dialogue with the Urban Land Institute. And we think, you know, and we're constantly trying to tweak it. What I know for sure is, you know, I now have freeholders that are engaged. So if we have companies that are looking to come to Somerset County, we have a way to engage with them. Now, let me just premise, this is very important. We do not tell municipalities how to handle their land use. That's not our job. But if you have identified priority growth, you know, what we call priority growth investment areas, and it fits, and you've already identified that you would support reasonable growth in that area, then we'll work with you in order to bring companies in a way that we hadn't had to really worry about it in the past. So we have hands-on involvement with the freeholders. Another thing that we're doing, we have a SEDS, which is a comprehensive economic development strategy. That allows us to identify what the private sector has said they need for job creation and private sector investment. Business Partnership is now in the process of investigating the feasibility of hiring a consultant who can see if we can get some federal money to fund some of these projects that we identified. Getting federal money to Somerset County is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
But we think we have a shot. When we talked to our consultant, we said, look, we don't want to waste our time. Do we have a shot at getting federal investment for infrastructure? Yes. I go, why? Reason number one is the feds are going to ask, do you have a SEDS approved by the federal government on how to spend federal money? Yes, we do. Question number two they're going to ask, do you partner with the private sector? Yes. It's called the Somerset County Business Partnership. One of only 2 public-private partnerships recognized in the state of New Jersey by our strategic plan. So those are the advantages that we have. We have to use that. And really, that's really what the invitation to Bedminster is. We want you to be, we want to work together. And so the investment, the monetary, is more like a sign that you're on the, you're part of the team. It's more, it's just, I want the vote. And then here's another one, Larry.
So that's the actual ask?
Yes.
The actual ask is
$895.
the
$895. It makes you an official part of the.
875? Do I hear?
$875. You know better than I do.
But I thought Berners Township was going to pick that up.
That's the ask.
That's right.
That was his joke. He came up with that.
Listen, and then what that tells me is Bedminster is part of the team, part of what we're trying to do. And here's one more thing. I have a meeting tomorrow in Newark with the North Jersey Transportation Planning Association. They allocate where the federal transportation dollars. They are doing their own regional SEDS, covering 13 counties. Now, it's an open question, at least in my mind, is whether or not 13 counties going from Sussex County down to Monmouth to Hudson can rally around a single economic vision. I think we might have a shot at it. It'd be nice if we could do it. But I know, all I can tell you is this. When you go into those meetings, you got to challenge the status quo, because they still think that areas in Somerset County don't need any help. They still think the priority should be, I don't know, Jersey City waterfront. I think the world has changed. And because of the efforts of the business partnership, the SEDS at least will now recognize that we can't walk away from these large office complexes along the interstates. And I have to say, not too long ago, I wasn't hearing too many other organizations in New Jersey making that case.
Well, Urban Land Institute.
Okay, besides Urban Land Institute, exactly. But you know what I'm saying? Because when, like, use the example I did, here's a perfect example. The very first professional office building in Somerset County was the old RCA building on 202 in Bridgewater. Eisner Amper left that building to go to Metro Park with state incentives. Was New Jersey happy? Sure. Does that help us in Somerset County? No, that's a challenge. Because obviously their taxes, and you've seen it across countywide with the reduction in the tax assessment. So I'm not trying to turn this into an urban versus suburban thing as much as figure out win-win solutions for everybody, but really articulate that we need to promote Somerset County, we need investment in Somerset County, we need to support employers growing here. We have amenities that nobody else has, such as the PGA tournament coming to Bedminster, Duke Farms, USGA, Bridgewater Commons, 15,000 acres of open space, Somerset Ballpark, And if you're further to the west, you don't have one of those. So that gives us amenities that we can, promote and hopefully lead to a very prosperous future.
If you come back to, our discussions during the budget session and questions that we had posed to Ed back there, has to do with taxes and our rateables and our commercial base. And as Mike has indicated, just look a few miles to the west, and Merck is giving up over 1 million square feet of office. Beautiful complex. They're giving it up, walking away. To the north, there's 1 million square feet office space that's open and available on Route 80. To the south, as you head down into Monmouth and to Mercer, you're seeing more and more office buildings becoming vacant.
The historic Bell Labs is still a ghost town.
AT&T Bell Labs is actually, it's in the process of being redeveloped, and it's got some sort of crazy residential with other elements. But it took years to get there, and it's still, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Even within Bedminster, we see Advance moving down the street to Bridgewater.
Right.
It's going to open up some more office space in Bedminster. The mission of maintaining our commercial base as solid and desirable increases the valuation and takes the tax burden off of residents. So clearly, the mission is one that we support.
And it's not about taking open space and developing it.
No.
It is about cultivating what we already have and making sure that there aren't for lease or for rent or for sale signs in our industrial or commercial corridor. And I think that's very important. And as Mike said earlier, they are not pushing development on us.
No.
They are looking to work with us on the type of development
Yes.
that we want. And it's also a regional thing, just to jump on Larry's point. When Sanofi moved out of Bridgewater down 202, 206, that affected Pluckerman. That
Right.
affected all the stores. Where do you think those folks go to eat lunch? Where do you think they go and pick up their cleaning and they get a haircut and they do, pick up their groceries on their way home? So the health, even in our neighboring towns, of their businesses affect our businesses. And I understand. Now, you said something interesting. I was at a freeholders meeting where you spoke a couple months ago. What do you see as Somerset County's, who are we competing with? Hunterdon County? Morris
No,
County?
Austin, Texas.
This is me more my personal opinion. I don't worry about Hunterdon County. I don't worry about Warren County. I don't worry about Sussex County. I think we have such a large competitive advantage over them at this point. I'm not worried about it. What I keep on hearing is the word talent. So there's a company in Franklin Township called SHI, very interesting company. It's $1 billion technology company, privately owned, took over an abandoned AT&T building, so it's doing exactly what we want them to do, which is take these big ratables and preserve them. And I told them about the AT&T technology conference, and they go, we're interested. If we can make the conference also focus on how we can get talented technology workers to come to Somerset County. That's our big challenge. So the competition is really with more, I would say, the urban areas, or even nationally, Austin, Philadelphia, Cambridge. And that's that's where we have to really promote the amenities we have here. We don't want to be Jersey City or Hoboken. But again, it's not bad here. We have a great quality of life. What we say down in my neck of the woods, I live in Somerville, you get off the train after a hard day in Manhattan, you can be in Duke Farms in like 5 minutes. So no one else can say that. And so that's the kind of like the competition, so it's, again, it goes back to like the best of both worlds. But I'm not worried further to the west. It's Metro Park and Jersey City in terms of getting to a point where companies start going there because that's where they think they have to go in order to get people to work, this really intelligent, talented workforce. So the way I would put it is, if you ask me what Somerset County's #1 competitive advantage is, and I can tell you quality of life, location, all that, it really comes down to talented workforce. Our people are really, really smart. Highest percentage of PhDs in the country, and a lot of statistics like that. So that's the good news. The challenge is they can leave. Talent is mobile. And if they leave, then we got a challenge. So I want to kind of get it in the company's head. If you want to grow, you can get talented people here.
What about our schools? I mean,
Yes. very good.
Bernard's and Bedminster, I mean, we have excellent schools.
Yes.
I know Bernard's attracts international group of people
Yeah.
because of the school district.
Very good point. Yeah, absolutely. We hear that a lot. Now, what we don't hear a lot, which gets an interesting conversation, we don't hear property tax. You hear it as local public officials, particularly from our residents, but, if you're Santa Fe or Merck, they're not, I mean, they'll think about property tax, but it's not their main concern.
And Mike, I agree with Larry and the mayor and Larry in the fact that, we don't have very much space that's developable. And speaking just for Bedminster, is now like some of the other towns, they have areas designated for redevelopment and things that they could build out. But, those commercial entities, those buildings that we have right on the 202, 206 corridor and right off of 78 here in Bedminster, their economic viability is what their vacancy rate is and what
Right.
they can, what they can do as a business model. And if they're half empty, then they're going to be going to Ed back there and saying
Right.
that they're paying too many taxes based
Yeah.
on their revenue and different things like that and their vacant space. So I guess I was wondering, how do you work with the Economic Development Agency, the state, and bringing businesses because they might be the first people to hear about a
Yes.
business looking to relocate.
Yeah.
How do they pick up the phone and call you versus somewhere else in the state?
So we hear this a lot. You guys are doing a great job. Somerset County's got its act together. We do have a good, close relationship with the Business Action Center, with Karen Francini when she was at the EDA, Choose New Jersey, Tracy McDaniel, Lieutenant Governor has been there. So we know all the players very, very well, but I don't think we're quite there yet where we have a really synchronized team, because everything, in the nature of economic development, everything is done very close to the vest. But we're working on it. What we were able to achieve, and this is more of the county planning board, when the state strategic plan came out, which they never wound up adopting, but I thought it was a good plan. They identified that they would focus investment and growth and priority growth investment area, but then kind of didn't really tell the local municipalities and how to do that. So it was Somerset County that basically figured out, working directly with the towns, where the priority growth investment areas should be, presented to the state of New Jersey, and they looked at it and go, we like that. Good. They accepted it. So it was a good example of leadership. We're going to try to do the same thing in terms of economic development.
The fee, is that the same fee for every Somerset County municipality?
No, what happened was, several years ago, when I first took the job in 2009, we talked to the municipal managers, and I think Judy may remember, it was Mark Crane from Warren Township, where at that point the business partnership was taking the lead on the shared services initiative, and there was some request by the managers for us to get away from that and for them to take it back. So we decided to declare victory and turn it back to the municipal managers. Part of that agreement, Larry, was that the fee structure was changed so that we treat municipalities exactly like a business. So the fee structure is based on the number of employees that you have, full-time employees.
It's on page 3 of the report here. He explains it.
More shared services means less employees.
Means less employees. Well,
Oh, yeah,
we just talked about
exactly,
losing a
right.
couple employees earlier.
Exactly.
We'll have to update it, but another thing that's interesting about it is, what can we do, the five of us, as our part? And, one of the struggles that some of these large companies have that can go anywhere, and whether they decide to come to either New Jersey or more specifically Somerset County, or even more specifically Bedminster, we have to be attractive for that talent that Mike was talking about to want to come here. When you got a choice to transfer in the company and you can go to Austin, Texas, or Cambridge, Massachusetts, or wherever, and New Jersey's in the mix. My previous life, I was in a big organization that was governmental, but it was the same way. You competed for assignments and where you could go. And I will tell you that although the New Jersey outlet for my old company is down in South Jersey, New Jersey didn't have a good reputation. People didn't want to get assigned to New Jersey because they either thought it was like the beginning of The Sopranos, everything was Route 1 and 9, or they heard about the high property taxes, or they heard about, and to change that mindset and to show them what we have here in Bedminster, Somerset County. And also, that's also part of our role, other than just simply being cheapskates when it comes to trying to keep our property taxes low. Everybody in local, municipal, county, and state government has a hand in trying to keep our taxes as reasonable as possible. That also is something that will attract people into our state. How many people have been around the holiday table or talked to relatives and friends who know of somebody that's getting ready to retire, moving to North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania border? All you got to do is cross the Delaware, and between Allentown and Easton, there's tremendous growth. And those people all commute on 78 in the morning and go back in the afternoon. Why? Because it's cheaper to live there.
Right.
So we have a hand in some of that, albeit a small hand. So.
Mike had talked about Cambridge, and it's something that he and I actually had discussed a few weeks ago, which is Sanofi. When they relocated that office to Cambridge, higher real estate values, higher real estate pricing. They didn't go for cheaper space. They went for more expensive space. The company's view of real estate was a secondary issue. The primary issue was to be in Cambridge, to be around other technology companies, to be surrounded by MIT and Harvard, and to have the PhDs up there. So to some extent, the talent was a primary issue. The real estate pricing was a secondary issue. But for us to maintain our tax base, we have to make sure that that commercial base stays here.
Right.
And so I just want to point that out, and I'll turn to
Talk
Carolyn.
about Austin, Texas. My sister-in-law's sister moved to Austin. They had to send their kids to private schools.
Right.
And what does that cost compared to property taxes in New Jersey? 3 kids to private school because the schools are awful in Texas.
Right.
Sorry if you come from Texas. Same with Florida, where my brother had to move.
Right.
Send their kids to private school.
I-
There are many towns in New Jersey where the schools are as good as any private school anywhere, if not better.
I think you're
It's
absolutely right.
important. It's a
I think-
huge expense, the schools.
I think
And that's
the-
why our property taxes are maybe a little bit higher, but gee, even if you spend $20,000 a year on property taxes and you're sending 3 kids to a good public school, how much would it cost per year to send those 3 kids to private school? A lot more than $20,000.
But that kind of is to Larry's point, Austin's got University of Texas. It's the incubator for a lot of startup companies in chips and telecommunications, and it's the state capital. So there's all those draws about talent. That's part of the
but-
reason why, right?
Talent's
no,
willing
and
to
that-
move. I mean,
but I-
talent wants to live somewhere where they can smart people want to live somewhere where they can send their kids to good schools.
Yeah,
And they'll move from
I
Austin.
think we're both saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's,
Migration.
but all I'll say is this: when Sanofi left, that was the wake-up call. Because it's one thing to lose like a back office operation to a lower cost situation, but Sanofi wasn't moving to Cambridge because of cost, and then we had to kind of face what was going on. So there's a lot going on. But the synergy with higher ed, which, again, we mentioned the EDA, Business Action Center, Troopers, New Jersey. Higher education wasn't part of the conversation until recently. So better late than never. So again, that's another thing the business partnership is working on. We're working closely with Advance. They're trying to figure it out, how to take the old Santa Fe site and reinvent, because that's one of, you look at our SEDS, one of our top priorities is to figure out how to reuse these critical sites. So we really want Advance to be successful, because that would be a model for all of us, including here in Bedminster and up and down the interstates.
Also, Mike, when you talk about the issue of offense versus defense, and once again, this is something that I've spoke to Ed about before, which is what can we do
Right.
with AT&T? And if AT&T is already making outreach to the town and to Somerset County Business Partnership about enhancing the local technology expertise, and whether it's through the incubator, whether it's through the think tank down in
Yeah, juice tank, right.
Juice tank, the
Yep.
juice tank, exactly. And it's good to see that they're involved and
Yeah.
with the AT&T issue, and that's the type of thing that is going to keep the technology here. It's going to keep the expertise here, and anything that we can do to facilitate and
here's-
foster that relationship is something that we should do.
Right, and as we move forward to plan this conference, one of the person I'm dealing with is based in Texas. He's their attorney in charge of the Mid-Atlantic region. They may, as part of their participation in the conference, this won't be the main focus. The main focus is figuring out this really great future. But one of the questions may be, okay, we're all excited about this great future. What are the impediments that are in the way? And at that point, we better be prepared to say, listen, as far as Bedminster Township goes, as far as Somerset County goes, as far as the state of New Jersey, we're supportive. That's the message we have to deliver. And I think that, again, the conference would be the perfect place to deliver that. And maybe, a lot of times it's, just being responsive to a building code permit. Again, not anything that would be not in violation of your values. Just tell them, just supporting them, that's all. So, again, we'd have an opportunity to do that.
Well, I guess once again, the immediate ask,
Is what's it, 825 going once?
875.
875, sorry.
I like the 825 better.
Well, if you lay off a couple more.
Well, I will go around the table. Can I get a sense of the committee for what you think about this?
I think if you've traveled to places like Austin, and I have in Cambridge or different places like that, and you just see, how, what the draw is there, and it's good, high-paying jobs, and the quality of life and schools and all that is important. But what's drawing these people out of, like in the case of Austin, California is losing a lot of companies.
Right.
Even parts of Apple are now moving to Austin. Whole Foods has got their there's corporate headquarters there. It's a lot of things combined, and I think you talked about it, Mike, was everything that Somerset County can offer. So there's quality of life, yes, good, good education, good transportation, close to airports, but in the end, talent has to attract talent. So I think you're on the right course here. So I certainly support this as an initiative. Carol?
Yeah, I support anything that's going to bring more business to our town. I mean, that's a win-win. Yep.
If Mike can deliver more than 825 in taxes, then yes.
Stacy?
I fully support the program. I'd like to join, and I vote yes.
And we have some things that we've already been discussing up the road a piece
With the local
of the four-legged variety, and I've got more stuff for you
Great.
afterwards. All right.
Can I just close on that?
Sure.
I want to thank you very much for the support. But that's the way to look at the business partnership, as kind of a platform you can use. So there may be issues I hadn't brought up, but that you have. Feel free to contact me or anybody on my staff, see if we can help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. From one Kerwin to another Kerwin. Our esteemed Township Assessor of Taxes, Mr. Ed Kerwin. It is indeed a pleasure, Ed, to see you outside of the budget cycle. We usually see you in March and late February,
Have
and
a seat, pull up a chair.
yeah, take a seat. Take a seat.
We don't have chocolate at these meetings, though.
No, but he's got his HP calculator there, so I'm impressed.
That's my pen, that goes everywhere. God, it's a hard act to follow.
And for those that don't know, they are cousins.
Yeah.
They are related.
Oh.
Second cousins. Thank you for having me this evening. The Somerset County Tax Board Administrator, Robert Vance.
And is he being picked, for those in the back, is he being picked up on the mic? We can hear him fine.
Yeah,
I just want to
we
make
can
sure.
hear
All right. Good enough.
The Somerset County Tax Board Administrator, Robert Vance, sent each of the 21 towns in Somerset County a packet of information regarding the pending legislations regarding county assessing that you received from Judy Sullivan. Without getting lengthy tonight, I'd really like to just read you an explanatory statement written by, which you should have, by Bruce MacArthur, the Berners Township Administrator, who eloquently surmised the information regarding this. There are two pending bills. One is Assembly Bill 2621, sponsored by Assemblyman Andrzejczyk. If I mispronounced it, I apologize, and Assemblyman Citarelli. And then there's an identical bill, Senate Bill 1801, that's sponsored by Senator Drew. This is a combination of Democratic and Republican bills together. These bills expand upon the 2009 law sponsored by Senate President Sweeney, who at that time in 2009 was the Gloucester County Freehold Director, which authorized a pilot program in Gloucester County which did away with municipal assessment and consolidated it at a county level. This pilot program got the state of New Jersey to pay for the revaluations in Gloucester County for all the towns, which cost about $8.8 million, and therefore all the taxpayers in New Jersey paid for these revaluations in Gloucester County. And it gave the county freeholders control of assessing function in addition to the county tax board, which supervises the assessment function and hears the appeals. Unlike Bedminster and other Somerset County municipalities which have an outstanding reassessment programs, many statewide towns have shirked the responsibility of keeping their assessments current. Gloucester City's savings and costs yet to date, no comprehensive study of those savings has been done. What I'm trying to say is that the Gloucester County reassessing program, because it's being paid for by the state, and they haven't really started any annual reassessing program, has a very small budget. So the budget that is being written in the local newspapers is a false budget, because they're really not operating. And what I mean by that is, in Bedminster, taking it to the simple level of Bedminster, we have an annual reassessment program. We have my salary, Joan's salary, Robert Gabrish, who is a helps me with the re-inspections. And if you add up those costs, beside the normal operating expenses, that's what it costs for us to operate and perform an annual reassessment function each year. Included in those costs, which is part of my salary, is the defense of the tax appeals at the local level and at the state level. The cost or savings that Gloucester County is indicating that they're saving is not incorporating the cost of field inspections, nor is it incorporating the cost of the reassessment, and therefore they've staffed their offices with a low number of employees, and at this point in time are not able to perform an annual reassessment program because they don't have enough people in the office to reassess all the towns in Gloucester County. So it's not saying they can't, but at this point in time, their pilot program needs to be looked at over the next 2 or 3 years to see how successful they are. I'm not sitting here condemning their program. I'm just making a point that their program is at a standstill, and the pilot program has not been completed. And when it is completed, that is the time for us to take a look at it and see if it's successful or not successful. And that's one of the reasons that I'm here today, is that Rob Vance's position, which you have most of the information, is that really he would like to see Somerset County sit and wait. He would like to see this legislation not passed, and that we wait to see the success rate of Gloucester County or any other county assessing program before we jump onto into a county program that might not be successful. Basically, Gloucester County freeholders have appointed all the employees and professionals in the new county office. Gloucester County has not kept their values current since the state funded revaluation. Basically, they started their revaluations in 2009. They revalued and finished it in 2013, but haven't touched the values since. So they're basically the ones that were established in 2009 haven't changed. And the point of county assessing was that they would do an annual reassessment program. The towns in Gloucester County have been racked by, according to Bruce MacArthur, costly and numerous tax appeals. So what they've really seen is their values staying the same because they haven't been changing the values, and number two, they're losing ratables as a result of tax appeals. Therefore, their rateable base, county rateable base, is decreasing. According to the statement that Bruce has made, these bills are a slippery slope which could lead to other services heading to counties without municipal input, where services quality may erode and service delivery might not be cost effective. In 2010, a paid consultant by the Somerset County concluded that the county assessment-based model would cost more than the municipal model. In 2010, when Assemblyman Citarelli was the freeholder in Somerset County, they hired a consultant by the name of Tom Banker, who came to Bedminster Township and every township in Somerset County, who did a study to find out what was more cost-effective, county assessing or municipal. And in conclusion, he came to the conclusion that the municipalities were running their offices more cost-effectively, and that the county would not be able to do county assessing for less than what the municipalities are paying operating their assessing offices and paying their assessors and their staff, and that he recommended that everything remain status quo. In my opinion, things haven't changed since 2009. I think the offices are from speaking to other assessors, are diligently trying to cut their costs and reduce their costs in their office. And when the governing bodies are looking to cut costs, and we try to sharpen our pencils as assessors to bring those costs down and try to operate as inexpensively as we possibly can. And I think that's something that, I think we as, not only as the assessors here in Bedminster, but all the departments do that as well. While Somerset County municipalities that don't conduct annual reassessing, they are Manville, Raritan, and Montgomery. North Plainfield is now doing a compliance plan, and they are bringing their values up to date. Rocky Hill has brought their values up to date. Hillsborough's on an annual reassessing program. So in 2014, out of the 21 municipalities, 16 municipalities do annual reassessing, and there's going to be 2 more coming on for the year 2015. So we're close to having every municipality doing annual reassessing here in Somerset County. The County Tax Board Administrator Rob Vance has written a thorough study, which I think you have in front of you, regarding annual assessment versus periodic revaluations. And basically he has written letters on oppositions to this, and the New Jersey Association Tax Boards have gone on record, as well as the State Tax Assessors Association, requesting that these bills not be passed and be reconsidered at another time. The objections to these bills is that they feel that it'd be a bailout for towns that aren't doing reassessing. It'll take the county decision out of the, take the county's, county will start to assume the assessment function, and the municipality will not have any input in tax appeal settlements. Right now, as your tax assessor, when I'm working on a settlement with a commercial property owner, since that was the topic before I came to speak, I try to work with the commercial owners in future reductions. If they file an appeal for the year 2014, I would request that the owner consider withdrawing that appeal for 2014 for a settlement maybe in 15 or 16. What's important to know, and I believe is this is the most important of any, is that as your assessor for 25 years, come July 1st, the mayors, past mayors of this town have taken a very active approach in trying to settle tax appeals. We had a large tax appeals with AT&T, and Mayor Halt, I couldn't settle the appeal. I couldn't get anywhere settling the appeal, and Mayor Haltaway called the director for AT&T and had a meeting with them, and he had myself and the real estate division from AT&T meet at their facility so we could start to talk settlement. Mr. Casperson accompanied us in the meeting, and we were able to eventually settle that appeal. But it was a decision that was not made by Ed Kerwin. It was also a decision that was brought back to the governing body that was negotiated not only by myself but with the mayor and Mr. Casperson for the best interest of Bedminster Township. I don't think you're going to get that when you have county assessing. They're not going to say, to the mayor or governing body members, do you want to come along and negotiate a settlement with us? They're going to be negotiating that, themselves, handing you the piece of paper, here's the settlement, you owe them X number of dollars, or this is what their assessment's going to be reduced to, and you really don't have any say. I believe that the local level has more control over the tax assessor and the tax assessing function in settling appeals. I can't settle an appeal without the approval of the governing body. In this legislation, the county has the approval to make those settlements for you. So there you have no say in the settlements. One of the interesting points is, and to add to that, is what incentive does the county have in settling appeals compared to the incentive that you have in trying to settle an appeal to the best interest of the town? And that's really what they've started to, that's one of the main issues. I had mentioned Mr. Citarelli's, the freeholders. When he was a freeholder, the freeholders had done a study with Mr. Banker. And Mr. Banker came out and said that the county would cost more, county assessing would cost more than municipal, and that technically he felt that the towns would, in his words, the towns would be the big losers. One of the other comments that was made was that there's a slippery slope. The next bill could be that the tax collection could be at the county level. Once the assessing is taken to the county level, then there's the tax collection that could come to the county level, which therefore the county would collect the taxes and hand Bedminster their fair share of the taxes. These are not saying that it's not written in the bill, but would be the next possible step. So basically, the Somerset County Tax Board Administrator has opposed this bill and has sent this information to you that you have in front of you for your review in considering passing a resolution to oppose county assessing. And he has sent this to all of the 21 towns in Somerset County. Just as a little background, Bedminster, as you know, is an annual reassessing program. I've been doing this since 1991. After we had our revaluation in 1989, we never had to do another revaluation again. We average about 6 county appeals a year and about 3 state tax appeals a year. I try to defend the appeals to the best of my ability and for the best interest of the town. One of the things that I believe is important about keeping assessing here in the municipality as opposed to having it at the county is that there's a seamless communication between the construction department and the collection department and the township administrator and myself. If I want to look at a set of plans, I can go over to the building department, talk to Joe. I'm going to go over and take these plans, bring them to my desk. I can take them and work on them. If I have any questions, I can ask anyone in the building department about what's going on in certain construction or what's going on at Trump or what's going on in one of the properties in town regarding the development of the site.
Ed, is there any anecdotal, I guess I was going to say evidence, but how that communication is working in Gloucester County? Do the construction code officers, or the construction officers, are they speaking with the county assessors?
I don't.
And if you don't know, then
I don't know.
that's fine too.
I can't answer that. I just find that, being 20 feet away from the construction department and within 20 feet of the construction department and the collector's office, if I have questions on if taxes are delinquent or not regarding a tax appeal, if I'm able to know a little history about a property or find out what's going on, it's all within my fingertips here in town. The other part of assessing, county assessing versus municipal, it's easier access for people to come to Bedminster to talk to their assessor, their collector, and their construction department than it is to drive to Somerville. So if you have a question regarding your taxes, it's the ease, more of an ease on the residents in town. But to answer your question, I don't know. How far how much communication there is between the two departments.
To your answer and to Larry's question, I mean, if they drive up on 1 Miller Lane, they can go into the building and see you, provided, you're here.
Yes.
But, they can make an appointment with you. They can come in here and talk to you about, what their grievance is. There's nothing in that legislation that says that even if they're willing to drive to Somerville, they're gonna be able to speak to somebody or get affect anything related to their inquiry. I mean, it's the boots on the ground, local, hands-on, face-to-face versus the 30,000-foot view from the county looking at all these municipalities and all these different taxpayers. And I mean, reading through this, my objection is that if we as the governing body are going to be the ones that are gonna raise taxes or we're gonna impose taxes, then they have to be done very fairly and very accurately, because, I know from these reevaluation studies in other municipalities that I'm familiar with, it's widely inaccurate as to what one property gets assessed and another one gets assessed, and there hasn't been a tax assessor in these properties for years, much less knowing, if anybody finished off a basement or put an addition on or anything like that. And I find that the assessment, especially in the hills, okay, where it's a lot more easier to assess an A unit versus another A unit in the same neighborhood to make a comparison. Your degree of difference or the accuracy of your assessments, I think, are much greater than coming out of some assessment model and out of Somerville. And I have a lot of fear that this is a slippery slope, like you said it was. I know one of the freeholders said to me, "Don't worry about it. It's only a volunteer thing. If you don't want to be part of it, you don't have to be part of it." Well, that's for today. I'm not so sure about it later on. And you open the door a crack, and before you know it, maybe it is tax collection or it's something else, and we lose our local control. And we're all for shared services, let's face it. I mean, we have a shared service now.
Mm-hmm.
You're a shared service, right?
Yes, to a degree, yes. The answer, to add to your comment, one is my cell phone is out there for everyone to have, access to me by cell phone, which and as well we have the third lowest coefficient of deviation. And what that basically is they look at the deviations of when properties sell, they compare them to the assessments, and ours is the third lowest in the county, which our ratio is over 97%, and our deviations are somewhere around 6%, and it's something that, what that really means is that everybody, the purpose of assessing or paying taxes is that everybody pays their fair and equitable share. And the closer you can have your deviation to zero is is what you really want. Whether you're assessing people at 97% or 47% or 87%, the purpose of it is to try to is to narrow your deviation as close as possible so that everybody's paying their equal and fair share in taxes. And, you know, we have the third lowest in the county, so I'm not here, you know, patting myself on the back. I'm just saying that it works if you work at it and
You can do that. You can go, this is your opportunity. If you want to pat yourself on the back, you better do it now.
Well, you know, Ed, to your point, the fact that you don't have a line out the door for people appealing their taxes because they get their assessment every year, and it's not wildly different than what they feel as though their property is worth, or, you know, what the equalization is worth, right?
Well,
I mean, that says the whole, that answers the question, right?
I have to talk about my staff for a second here, Joan. She's wonderful. But what people come in, I'll use the Hills as an example. And you're right, you have A models, B models, and 18 neighborhoods, and you have an A, B, and C in each, roughly speaking. 18 neighborhoods and A, B, and C in each neighborhood. If a property owner calls and says, you know, I'm really not happy about my assessment, I don't think I can sell it for this, this is not, you know, this seems high. We run the list of sales of Mayfield A's or, you know, Fieldstone B's, whatever model they have, and we run a listing of the sales and that occurred in the past year and a half, and also I keep track of all the current listings that are on the market, and I send that to the homeowners. I said, before you decide to appeal, before you decide to do anything, take a look at this information and let me know what you think. And we send this out before. You know, it's something that 9 times out of 10, the homeowners will say, wow, I didn't realize that this is what these units are selling for, and they don't appeal. And it's just the fact that if you do that little extra step, you can eliminate a whole lot of appeals by sending out the information ahead of time. We're in county assessing and in other counties, they'll wait for the property owner to file an appeal. They'll have them go down to the county tax board. They'll present them for the sales. They've taken the day off from work. They've gone through all this, and then they walk out of there frustrated and mad because they lost the case. You know, people will say, well, do you think I should appeal? I said, well, I can't tell you that, but if you look at the sales, I have the sales, in my opinion, reflect your assessment, but that's up to what, you know, your opinion, what you want to do. I try to take that extra step so I'm not wasting a property owner's time when they don't have a case. And that's why we don't have a lot of appeals, is because we eliminate that appeals. There's what we call frivolous appeals, because, you know, the homeowners will go down there and lose, and then they'll have a bad taste in their mouth.
Ed, and that's what I asked your cousin. So what's the ask? The ask is that we adopt a resolution similar to what Bernard's did?
Yes.
Okay. One of the questions I have in the memo from the Association of County Tax Boards, it talks about the county paying the costs associated with municipal revals.
Mhm.
So does that mean that the municipal expense for the revaluations disappears at the municipal level, gets picked up by the county?
Correct.
So for municipalities that are not opting in,
Mm-hmm.
that stay local, that our taxes, our county taxes, are supporting the other municipalities' efforts.
Correct.
So while this may be a permissive opt-in, that the towns that are not opting in are actually getting somewhat economically penalized for not participating, because we're still paying into the county program, and the county program is paying for those other municipalities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Do we know that? Do we know that for sure? Or is that just kind of a hazy line that says, well, the big pot of county money is gonna pay for this tax assessor's office, and since our taxes all go into that big pot of money, then yep, Bedminster, you're gonna have a little piece of that
It
pie.
says it in the papers, and eventually the state is supposed to pay with what money, I don't know.
I think it operates differently than with county health. Now, when we opted into county health, and we get billed, Judy, by county health every month, that was a contract that we negotiated based on the number of restaurants and everything else, and what we needed as from a health.
What services we wanted, we
what
had a
services
scope
we
of
didn't
services
want. So it
we
was
did, right.
customized, but I don't believe, maybe I'm wrong, but that's not being subsidized by the county. We're paying for a service as we did a
We're paying
professional.
for it ourselves, right?
Right.
And I had a phone conversation with
It's what
this.
the memo says, I'm just talking to Carolyn.
Yeah.
Just want to be sure that,
No, it does. It says the bills indicate that the cost of these reevaluations would be initially covered by each county and assumes that the state would eventually be responsible for reimbursing the counties. Good luck.
Well, that's
The state
everybody,
has no
that's
money.
everybody in the state paying for it then, right?
Right,
We've
but it
done
still
our
means we
homework.
pay twice.
Yeah, it's like you've done your homework every year,
And
and
that-
now we're gonna pay for
Yeah.
people who haven't
A
done.
lot-
and
a lot
by
of
the
it-
way, if if you're counting on state money,
Yeah, good
you're
luck.
counting on the state budget and the governor, whoever the governor is at that time, funding that program.
Correct.
Which governors have a tendency of funding
Ignore.
programs.
Ignoring.
Yeah,
Ignoring
we'll never
program.
get the money from the state.
A lot of it is a bailout for towns that never conduct,
Right.
as Bedminster and some of the other towns in Somerset County do annual reassessment, so, you know, they haven't done a reassessment, and they haven't done a reval in years, so their ratios are so low, so, you know, they view this as a gift, you know.
Well, why not
They get a
just
reval done and the state or county picks it up.
Pass legislation requiring every municipality to reassess every 4 or 5 years, you know, like we do.
Well,
Every year,
Every-
we
I-
know,
Well, we don't do it every year.
I didn't
We don't
mention
do every
this.
house every year.
but it's still an annual
It's
assessment.
we
an
do
annual
25%.
assessment,
Process
but-
that takes
Well, you can
3
have
or
an
4 years
annual
to get through.
assessment and do every house every 20 years, but it's an every 4-year assessment is what we have.
There's a pilot program that wasn't mentioned here, and I'd like to mention that really fast, and I know you're busy tonight, but it's called the Monmouth County Program. It's very, very similar to what Somerset County does, or some of the assessors and some of the assessors in Somerset County does. The County Tax Board Administrator in Monmouth County, Matt Clark, has basically said to all the towns, we are an annual reassessing county. This is their year one. It just started this year. And all the towns in Monmouth County have to do an annual reassessment program. I will provide you with a company that will do re-inspections that you can use, or you can use your own company. I will provide training to the tax assessors to teach them how to do reassessing. Don't know how to do reassessing, but and I'm requiring that all the towns do an annual reassessment program, not a revaluation, state funded, but a reassessment program where all the towns are gonna go out and do their own inspection. At the end of 5 years, we're gonna get all the homes inspected and the values brought up to date, and we're gonna operate. If a town decides not to do that and hire it, I'm speaking as Matt Clark, I will send someone into that town to do the inspections and do the reassessment. And when we have the county tax, when I start to strike the county tax rate, I will adjust your county tax rate to pay for that reassessment if you don't pay for it. And I'm gonna take, if it costs me $100,000, I'm going to adjust your county taxes and add $100,000 to it because you made us pay for it. He's taken a very, 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 very aggressive approach, but he wants everything to be county assessed and all the values maintained by the tax assessors that are paid by the municipalities. The municipalities are still participating in the settlements, are still, you know, still have reins on the tax assessor and are able to have control of their own office. He just wants it to be reassessed. Rob Vance, who's our county tax administrator, is in support of this program, and he would someday like to see Somerset County do something like that, as opposed to the Gloucester County, so that each towns keep their own control and can hire their own tax assessor, and they can hire their own company or use the company that he has for the reassessment inspections. The tax appeal settlements would still be done by each of the municipalities, not by the county. And it's a program that's in year one, and it's not mentioned in this legislation, and that's another thing that Rob Vance is saying, instead of jumping onto this ship for Gloucester County, let's wait to see what Gloucester County does. Let's wait to see what the Monmouth County program, if it's successful or not, and then make a decision in 5 years from now or so, what we really want to do, not jump into it right away. And
But the Monmouth County, that's not,
it's a pilot program.
it's a pilot program, but it's not the subject of any pending or proposed legislation in Trenton.
No.
So the only thing that's being, well, that
Is-
are out there
Is,
is the Citarelli, Andrew, however you pronounced it, bill.
yes, the Senate and Assembly bills, correct.
Okay. So that's the only thing that's pending out there. So for immediate action, it's either we would be silent and take no action, or we
Correct.
would endorse it, or we would draft a resolution in opposition.
Correct.
You know, I look at this as, there's kind of two questions, or I think the more appropriate question for tax assessing is the how it's done rather than the who does it. I mean, I think there seems to be a consensus that the way we've been fortunate enough to have Ed Kerwin do it for us works. I talked to some of the freeholders over the past couple weeks. I've talked to Mr. Chitarelli about this extensively. I've actually even talked to Senator Sweeney about this, although all he wanted to do was just tell me, Gloucester County, do it my way, thanks. That was about the extent of the conversation, but I have talked to him. And a lot of it is trying to, as you said, trying to take the folks that have not been smart enough to have folks do it the way you do it, whether it be the Manvilles or the Rocky Hills or the Raretons or the folks that, and we can see it when we look at the equalization rates that are way out of whack. And we're very fortunate that we've had Ed to take care of it for us and do it the way we do. We are way ahead. We are what they would like counties to become. And whether we feel that local control is really, really important. Yes, it's nice to be able to go to your township office and talk to your tax assessor. It would be nice if we had our own health department. It's not necessarily feasible that every town have every service done at the township level. Ed, you have more than one town. How many towns do you do?
7.
7. So Ed is spread amongst 7 towns. We get the lion's share of his work. And so we're lucky. We're fortunate enough to get him in here most hours of the week and most days of the week so that a Bedminster resident can come in here. Part of the question when they looked at this legislation is if Ed can do all or part of 6 or 7 towns in a county with 21 municipalities, you tell me you can't have an office of a handful of people that can cover 21 municipalities? I'm not saying that's absolutely true, but it's certainly a question worth asking. So I do think that there is a potential for a regional model. Whether it has to be the Gloucester County model or not, I don't really know. I will say what I told Assemblyman Chitarelli and what I tried to tell Senate President Sweeney, that my druthers is that our tax assessor should not be a township employee. It should be a professional service, like Mr. Bellardo is a professional service. I'd like to be hiring Ed Kerwin Associates. And, you know, if whether it be 7, 8, or 30 or 50 towns, and maybe that's kind of part of what you're describing with the Monmouth model, you would get that regional work. You would also get, there would be those firms that do it in the way that Ed does it, do the annual assessment, and they would be the firms you'd want to go with. And I personally think that is the better answer than either the Chitarelli bill or doing nothing.
Ed, and maybe also for John, what's the public policy behind the tax assessor as an employee rather than a professional?
Well, he also has tenure after a while,
Right.
so he's not supposedly subject to political influence.
Right.
But tenure after a while, not, you don't get that tenure right off the bat.
No, you don't, but it was 3 years, 5?
You have to, after 4 years.
4, okay. And
Yeah.
it was, they all differ. It's in the state statutes, so.
Do you know
Well-
do you know what that policy is, though? I mean, is it just the tenure and not having?
It's so the assessor is, Ed, if I'm speaking at it, my theory behind tenure is so that the assessor is not subject to political influence. So someone can't, once the assessor has tenure, call up the assessor and say, hey, you know,
I need you to do, I need you to do a
this, or you're
favor.
not getting reappointed next year, so.
Yeah,
And Ed also reports to the state. He's a, I guess a quasi-employee of the township, but you also report to the state, correct?
I report to the, to numerous, no, to the governing body, to the county tax board, to the county tax board administrator, to the Division of Taxation.
Julian Gorelli's still there, right, down at
You know, quite a,
Deputy Attorney General's office?
you know, so there's a, my direct supervisor, you know, technically who sits and monitors my daily work and what I do and watches my, you know, the assessment changes and all the information that I supply, my reassessment applications, my reassessment inspections, everything. State tax appeal settlements, county tax appeal settlements, county tax board judgments is all done by Rob Vance, who's the county tax board administrator who works for the county tax board. And anything that he's not happy with, he'll either speak to myself or any of the other assessors. And then if there's any violations or anything that that the assessor is committing, we're reported to the county tax board and then reported to the town and the state of New Jersey Division of Taxation, and whatever that outcome is, you know, either you're suspended or fired or whatever. It's all done through the combination of the municipality, the county tax board, and the Division of Taxation.
but the
There's even
flip
a
side
state-
of the
There's even
tenure,
a state statute, 48-9-165, that protects your salary increase, so that you get a salary increase that's commensurate with other employees. It can't be reduced arbitrarily. It's another way to prevent a governing body from exerting influence over the assessor's role by saying, well, everyone else is getting 2% a year, you're getting 0% every year. So that was, in my opinion, the philosophy behind having the assessor as a somewhat independent figure to remove the political influence that might exist. Not saying obviously it does in every community, but historically that was an issue.
but the flip side of the tenure issue is if you are a town like Manville or Raritan that has been getting poor service from their assessor, you're stuck with it.
I won't comment on individual towns. There are procedures for, you know, attempting to remove an assessor, but there are due process rights. There's even state statutes that govern the assessor's hours. You can't tell the assessor you have to be here from 3 to 5. You can say you have to be here a certain number of hours, but then it's up to the assessor to decide those hours, when he or she will be here or not here. So I think that's correct. Again, tell me if I'm wrong.
Technically, yes, by statute.
Right.
But there is a, in my opinion, there is a, some assessors follow textbooks and some assessors, like myself, basically work on real life. And to me, textbooks are not, you know, statutes are nice to have. It's a working environment, because just as much as a tax assessor could sit there and read statutes, a governing body could make my life miserable. So there has to be, you know, a compromise on my part, and not to sit there reading statutes and books and since I've been your assessor, you know, for 25 years, I've never looked at it as anything more than being an employee of the town. So it's sort of, you know, I live in the town, and I don't physically, but I've lived this town for 25 years, and, you know, it's just something that I think, you know, Monmouth County, I'm not trying to preach their program again, you know, what they're trying to do, or what the mayor said, hiring a consultant as opposed to a county assessing. You know, people like our our town engineer, you know, live in the town and for many years and understand it. And whether you're paid as a consultant or as part of the Monmouth County Assessors Program, I think that's important, you know, that you really live the town, you live in the town. And, you know, maybe someday the legislation will change and then they can go to, you know, consultants. Then there won't have to be that issue of pensions and medical expenses or any of those things that are involved. You're just paid as a consultant and just like any other professional. Probably the best way to go, but because then towns have the right to fire that consultant at the end of a year. I'm not happy with you. I'm gonna go with somebody else this year. Thanks for your services and you're done. You know, it's against everything that's in that book that you're referring to, but I think it's practical, makes sense, you know, and it's something that was written 50, 60 years ago doesn't mean it's meant for today.
Do with judges.
Yeah, we appoint judges, or like, you know, the same way we appoint the attorney.
That's right.
Well, I will also repeat to you what I told Freeholder Director Scaglione and Assemblyman Chitterelli. One thing that Bedminster likes is we like Ed Kerwin as our assessor. He has done a remarkable job over 25 years, and we don't want to lose that. We do not. So I needed to get assurances from Mr. Chitterelli that this was truly a volunteer program and that this wasn't something that could be foisted upon us. And both he and the Freeholder Director said, our goal is to take the other towns and have them move to a model like some of the towns up here in the northern part of the county.
You know, the only thing I would comment upon this, and not having read the bill, but having looked at certainly the memos here, is that if the towns that are not participating in that program are still supporting the payments, that would be a reason to object.
And I asked Jack Chitterelli just that, and he said it was more on the healthcare model. It was not like, he said it was not like county dispatch. County dispatch, everybody got it, everybody pays for it, whether you take it or not.
Whether you take it or not.
And he said it was absolutely not that. Now, I'll also say that I have not read the bill in its entirety to say with absolute certainty that that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, all we have is the memo.
We
that's,
have the county tax board, and that's one side.
The result of this form of cost apportionment is that a small but affluent town will typically see a significant increase in costs associated with the assessment function, because you're paying for not only your assessor, but you're paying for other assessors in other parts of the county.
Mayor, if I may, what I'd like to suggest, I didn't read the actual bill, although I read the commentary and I read the resolutions from the other towns, and obviously we've had Ed talk about it, and we've had other citizens come up at prior meetings and talk about it. I think it would be, if we truly object, or we certainly have our reservations or our concerns, then I think we should at some point move forward with a resolution objecting to the law the way it is written now, because I think non-action or could be, or ambivalency, or at least interpreted as such, is not in our best interest. So
We could
maybe
perhaps suggest amendments.
or maybe we could, if we could get this bill and distribute it to all the members of the committee so that we have a chance to read it by our next meeting, and then we could make a decision if we like the way at least it's written, or object to it the way it's written, or in concept, or as the mayor
Do
suggested.
we know the time frame if a resolution was to be written, when it needs to be received, to be?
I don't know where this thing is going through the assembly. I don't know if it's something that's gonna come up very soon, or if it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
just
based on what
floating in space there.
based on what I've heard and what I've read, yes, I would vote yes on a resolution objecting to it the way it's currently written and proposed. But like I said, I did not read the entire bill.
Do you
Well,
know what the timeframe is, by any chance?
What, I haven't spoken to any of the assemblymen or senators, but what I've heard is that it'll be passed within the less than 30 days, and it'll be on the governor's desk by June 16th or 15th. That's what I'm hearing, is that by June 15th, it should be sitting on the governor's desk.
Well, our next meeting is May
19th.
19th. Perhaps Mr. Bellardo could have someone do a brief summary of the legislation and also check the OLS website for the schedule.
I'll be glad to read it, Mr. Jacobs. I had, not to date, because I hadn't been directed to, but I've read the memos and heard presentations here in Bernard, so.
And
glad to do that.
get a copy of the actual bill.
Right, that'll be easy to do.
All right. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Got all my notes on the back side. All right. New business. Does anyone have any new business? If not, we can look at old business, and although we are at 9 o'clock, Carolyn, do you want to talk a little bit about the tax
Just real brief.
reward program?
I'm at the point where I've sent everything I have to every member of the township committee that was sent to me by the people who run the property tax reward program. So I just want to know, where do we go from here? Bernie had suggested to me that we really need to get a buy-in from the Bedminster Business Association, which I agree on, which is why I invited them to every meeting where we discuss this. I had emailed them and told them. So we want to proceed by asking the man who runs this program, who I spoke with, to come and make a presentation to us and invite the BBA to come and hear it with us, and then have a discussion, a joint, with the BBA? Or do I and whoever else wants to come go to a BBA meeting and see how they feel about it? I know that the man who owns Far Hills Pharmacy, you told me,
Ira.
Pat's, is very much in favor of it, and everyone I spoke to on the Bedminster Business Association seems to be in favor of it. But if we don't get enough businesses to do it, then it's not worth doing. I know Marlborough has over 100 businesses doing it, but they also have a lot of businesses, so.
Yeah, they got Route 9 and,
But, the big box stores and the big chains aren't gonna do it, because I'm sure that their national is not gonna, want them to do something like this. It would have to be done
I mean,
uniformly,
as we
but-
talked, Caroline, I'd be happy to go to a BBA meeting, but I think they'd pose a lot of questions that you and I are not gonna be able to answer.
Yeah, so that's why. it might be
So
nice
maybe
to
your
have him
first
here.
suggestion about having a meeting here, or have it on the agenda where a representative can come and get as many BBA members as you can. We'd have to talk it up, so the attendance is good, and let them ask questions and let them make a presentation, and then they can, and see what the buy-in is.
well,
because-
they have their May meeting here in the next, week
May
or two?
23rd.
Oh, okay, so it's a couple, so it'll be after our next meeting. Maybe we can find out from then and get it on either first or second June meeting.
Okay, I'll talk to this man and see when he can come.
If you know that you can get Robbie or any of the folks from the BBA at a meeting and give them, a couple of upcoming dates, and they say, yeah, we can get 2 or 3, we'd love to be there, and you can get that gentleman from the organization.
At least their executive committee or their,
Yeah.
because they'd be
Right.
able to sell it to their members.
Yeah, we don't have to get 12 members of the BBA, but probably Robbie and maybe select, 1 or 2 selected individuals.
The BBA, is it primarily comprised of retail or service?
Oh,
Well, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, there is no typical.
No?
there's out-of-the-home businesses, there's real estate,
Yeah.
there's stores,
Yeah, some of the banks, the
lawyers.
bank branches are in town. I mean,
Yeah, the bank.
it's really the gamut.
I'm just trying to think
I
of,
didn't read through the whole.
this is obviously retail-driven, so.
Yeah, and reading through here, I'm not sure how somebody that has like you said, a lawyer that, or something like that would, or a professional service would be able to discount certain professional services to be able to effectuate the rebate as opposed to somebody buying something at the hardware store, let's say. I'm not sure how that all would work.
You might want to do it like they talk about in some of the things I read that I put online where somebody says $100 off this service,
Well,
You come to me.
I don't, it probably isn't us to conjecture what the BBA members would want. So let's invite them, and if they say, we think we can get X number of members that are interested, and by the way, this is what they think they're gonna be able to do, let them convince us.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we're essentially doing it for them.
Right.
Let them convince
And
us,
us.
and,
And there's no reward in it for anybody if there's only a few businesses.
it's revenue neutral for us, so.
I mean, we're going to attract more people to shop locally is the main reason.
Yeah.
Which is a
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. And the video, we have to get together, Larry and Judy and I have to get together and do our proposal, and Sean, and I was thinking, we need people, I don't know about Judy and Larry, but I don't have any technical expertise about video cameras and how they hook up to computers and what kind of proposal we'd want for the town, so I don't know if we want to get some people with that expertise on our subcommittee, if there's
Well,
anybody in town.
perhaps Sean can help out.
Yeah, well, Sean, yeah, is he pretty technical?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
then we'll have Sean. Maybe Basil could join us. I'll run it by Basil too, since he's been doing this and knows some of the bugs.
All right, so we
Thank
get
you.
down to, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Oh, okay. Second bite of the apple for public comment. Any member of the public that wishes to comment, please come up to the microphone, state your name, where you live. Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to Township Committee comments. Mr. Payne?
Nothing further this evening, Mayor.
Nothing.
Larry?
No comments.
Ms. Santucci?
No further comments, but thank you, Mayor.
And you know what? I will make it a five-fecta, or whatever that is called. I don't know what a five, it's too late for me to figure out what that is.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco, it's a Cinco de Mayo, well, there you go. And by the way, we should now know, Jake Perry should now know what the school budget is, since they met an hour and a half ago. That was their meeting, that's why Jake left so early. So maybe we will find out the actual figure. Anyway, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.